Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your evening news recap. Today is March 19th. It is Wednesday. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day so far. My day was all right. We got a lot to cover. We got news from the Trump administration. We got news from Europe. We've got news about Tesla. And we've got other news, as always. Hope all of you guys enjoy this recap, as this is your podcast on all the things you might have missed today. And it's also providing my own personal opinion as someone who aspires to be a future politician. With that being said, let's get started. We're going to open up with the Trump administration section, like always. Today, for the Trump administration section, we have the Trump admin is considering withholding public funding from New York Transit. The Trump admin is considering giving up NATO command. And the Trump is expected to sign an executive order tomorrow shutting down the education department. Trump admin is planning on withholding funding from New York public transport. The Trump administration is threatening to pull funding from the New York City Transit if it does not provide a plan to end crime. The Trump admin sent a letter to MTA Tuesday saying that the threats to public safety on the nation's largest agency are unacceptable and warned that it would take away federal funding if the issue was not addressed. Between 2020 and 2024, the MTA received $13 billion. The letter specifically asked the MTA to, quote, share plans and reduce crime, including assaults on customers, end quote, address violence against transit workers, end quote, reduce injuries and fatalities from dangerous activities, end quote, deter fare invasion, end quote. MTA Chairman Jano Libers said in a response, I feel like a kid who gets called on by the teacher when you've actually done your homework. We've done so much to improve subway safety. Subway crime is actually going down this year. It's down 22% and is down 19% since 2019. I've never been on the New York subway and I've never experienced New York Transit, so I won't make a statement on this, but if you regularly experience these things and you regularly use New York public transport, I'd love to hear your opinions on it, as I don't know what it's like, and I'd like to hear about it. Today, the Trump administration is considering giving up NATO command. According to NBC, the Trump administration is planning on giving up NATO control after it's been the responsibility of the United States to have a four-star general oversee for 75 years now. The position is known as the SACEUR, or NATO Supreme Allied Commander. Giving this position up would result in a massive change for Western alliances that Trump seems to want. Retired Admiral James Starvids, who served as the SACEUR from 2009 to 2013, said in an email to NBC, for the United States to give up the role of Supreme Allied Commander of NATO would be seen as a significant signal of walking away from the alliance. He would go on to say, it would be a political mistake of epic proportions, and once we give it up, they're not going to give it back. It would be an enormous amount of influence within NATO lost, and this would be seen correctly and probably as the first step of leaving the alliance altogether. This isn't shocking. I'm sure most of us saw this coming. If the United States leaves NATO, a lot of things are going to change, not just in global politics, but in global power rankings across the world. I think this could lead to maybe the abolishment of NATO and a formation of a new European-dominated alliance, of course, with other NATO allies involved in it. But we'll have to see. I mean, global politics are changing rapidly, and I'll be watching and observing and giving you my opinions on it as I plan on being in politics, and I want you guys to know what I stand for. Trump is expected to sign an executive order shutting down the Department of Education. Trump is expected to sign an executive order Thursday that would close the Department of Education. Trump will hold the event at the White House, the order directing Secretary of Education Linda McMahon to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return authority to the states, while continuing to censure the effective, uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. I live in California where I received all of my education, and it's honestly terrible. We're ranked 34th in education, which isn't surprising. A lot of students here struggle with classes like math and many other classes, which is unfortunate to see. The education department needs a lot of work, but it's crucial for providing some basis on education for all of the states. Many red states are at the department of the lists for education, are at the bottom of the lists on the Department of Education for education rates. My apologies. And it's, very obvious. We as Americans have a stereotype that our people are very stupid. A lot of other countries make fun of us for that. And I think if your country has a stereotype where other countries are calling your people stupid, you should probably reflect and think about what you're doing with your education, because it's very well possible that it might need to be changed. We have one topic for the European segment today, but it is a big one. Europe, Germany is leading the front for European defense plans. I'd like to thank my good friend Roger Wren for bringing me this article. In Germany and in Europe in general, with the exception of Hungary, there are plans to invest heavily in defense, 800 billion in Europe and 500 billion in Germany alone. The weapons are no longer to be manufactured or paid for in the USA, but in Europe itself, so money will only be spent on Europe products. The EU Commission is presenting a new defense strategy today. The so-called white paper focuses on joint projects and military buildup. There has never been an European defense white paper before. Such collection of fundamental goals and the plans for our armaments policy did not fall under the preview of the EU Commission. That was the responsibility of the defense ministers in the member states. But times have changed. Europe's securities architecture is out of joint, says Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen. She was the driving force behind the creation of the white paper in the European defense. The Secretary of Architecture we relied on can no longer be taken for granted. The age of influence and power and competition is back in full swing. Just take Russia. Despite these threats, one you can see that the U.S. is focusing on the Indo-Pacific region, said von der Leyen. She cites intelligence reports from several countries that indicate Russia, with its war on economy, is ready to attack European democracies within just a few years. The white paper summarizes how this can be achieved in a 20 densely written pages. The Defense Industry Commissioner Andreas Kubulis will present the details in Brussels today. However, the core plan is already known in Europe's armies to be massively rearmed, and similar to Germany, the Europe-wide debt limits are to be relaxed. Furthermore, the EU Commission intends to offer member states low-interest loans unpredicted of billions of euros are to be invested in weapons and production. And precisely in this context it is now important that Europe not only wakes up but also stands up to establish its own deterrence and defense capabilities. That is what the purpose of this defense white paper. That is a quote from Tobias Kremer, the foreign policy spokesperson for the SPD in the European Parliament. Before European elections, he was a diplomat for foreign services like the major MEPs. He believes that their planned billions in armaments are right. Certain conditions, money alone cannot solve it, and he will look into how they invest our defense, and he says they have coordinated to do it in a European way. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the United Europe is more terrifying than the United States. I'm all for United Europe. I strongly believe if the United States in some way abandons Europe, they will have to fight someone, and it's better for them to be prepared than be oblivious. It's unfortunate that this is the time we are in. I wish there was something we could do about it, but alas, this doesn't seem to be the case. Power to Europe, and I hope their army does well. Tesla. The top investors in Tesla are calling for Musk to resign, and Tesla was removed from the Vancouver Auto Show. Ross Gerber, one of the biggest Tesla investors, has called for Elon Musk to resign due to his other business involvement with the Trump administration and other companies. Gerber owns 260,000 shares of Tesla stock, worth around $100 million, making a significant part of the company's portfolio. Gerber said Tesla had been neglected by Musk, and his behavior brought the company into crisis. Tesla's market value has plummeted by $800 billion since Musk's involvement with the Trump administration. Gerber would tell Sky News, "I think Tesla needs a new CEO. It's time for somebody to run Tesla. The business has been neglected for too long. There are many important things Tesla is doing, so Elon should either come back to Tesla and be the CEO of Tesla and give up his other jobs and should focus on he should focus on the government and keep doing what is suitable to find a good CEO for Tesla." He would go on to say the company's reputation has been destroyed by Elon Musk, sales are plummeting, so yeah, it's a crisis. You literally can't sell the best product on the market because the CEO is so divisive. I agree with this. I am no way a fan of Tesla. I think electric cars are honestly worse for the environment overall than gas cars, but I think if Tesla having a CEO would save the company. As I mentioned yesterday, Tesla's struggles aren't the company's fault, and it's very well much Musk's fault. If Musk wasn't involved in Tesla, I strongly believe that it would be fine as a company. Tesla was removed from the Vancouver Auto Show. Tesla has been removed from the Vancouver International Auto Show. This decision was announced Tuesday afternoon by Eric Nicole, executive director of the event this year. Nicole said in a statement that said that the automaker was given multiple chances to withdraw. The Vancouver Auto Show primarily concerns safety of attendees, exhibitors, and staff. Hundreds of Canadians have protested against Musk and Tesla, just as Americans have in the Tesla takedown movement. The show will be held on March 19th to March 23rd. This is an understandable response to the situation with Musk and Tesla. People are going to protest no matter where it is, and you're not going to be able to stop them. Anyone who claims these as terrorist attacks is wrong. This is how we get into the head of Trump and his billionaires. This is how we scare them and get our voices heard. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching this episode of the podcast. It's a bit of a shorter one, but not a lot happened today, so there was a lot less to cover. I thank all of you guys for watching this video. I hope all of you had a wonderful day. I will see you all tomorrow with another news episode. With that being said, later guys.